Welcome back. The Trump administration filed emergency paperwork today urging the Supreme Court to move forward on restrictions to birthright citizenship. The executive order to do so is currently blocked nationwide after several states filed a lawsuit in January. Here to talk more about this is immigration attorney Rosanna Berardi. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
My pleasure.
So we were just talking, this is obviously very complex. What is the current situation with birthright citizenship in the U.S.?
So just to bring it back to the beginning, the minute the Trump administration took office on January 20th, an executive order was signed stating no more birthright citizenship, meaning if you're born here to someone who is unlawfully present in the United States, you're no longer a U.S. citizen. Now, that goes contrary to the Constitution, but there's been some back and forth. The executive order came out, 22 states appealed it, went to 3 courts, and those 3 courts said, we don't like this, we're going to stop it. The Trump administration petitioned to the Supreme Court today saying those 3 courts should not have the power to stop it nationwide. So they're asking, it's a very technical issue on injunctions, but it's an argument that can be made, and we'll see if the Supreme Court looks at it quickly and what they're going to do with it ultimately.
So currently right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you are here unlawfully and you have a child, that child automatically becomes a U.S. citizen. Is that correct?
That is correct. And it's been like that for a very long time. There's case law that goes back hundreds of years that supports that. Also, the U.S. Constitution supports that as well. But they're arguing about 4 words.
Okay.
Subject to the jurisdiction thereof, which is mind-blowing when you think about it. But really what happened today was the Trump administration is fast-tracking this to keep it in front of the Supreme Court. This was one of their major linchpins for their campaign promise, and they want to keep this front and center. So they took a little, I'd say, backdoor way, and they're arguing a legal nuance. And the Supreme Court does not have to review this. Okay. The process is you can petition the court, either a justice will look at it or all of them will and say, there's a constitutional issue here, or they'll say, we're not going to take this one. But we should probably know in a few weeks.
So it determines, of course, what the next steps are making this decision. But what does this mean for people who are already here and they already were born here and their parents might be unlawful?
I wouldn't worry if you're here already. I think it's more forward-facing. If, let's just say you're here unlawfully, you're pregnant, you're going to give birth at the end of the year, what have you, it could impact. I think it's unlikely. This is very well stated in the Constitution and in case law, but you know, stranger things have happened. But I think the Trump administration move today was really to keep this issue front and center in the media cycle, in the news, in front of the courts, because they want to really take an aggressive position. We've seen this through a lot of different issues. Crazy time to be an immigration lawyer.
Yes.
And this was just one of many that they've already come up with this week, and it's only Thursday.
Have we seen something like this come up in the past?
We have. It's the volume. So this is my 28th year being an immigration lawyer, and stuff happens all the time. It's just the volume and the pace to which it's coming out is unprecedented.
This executive order, obviously it speeds up the process, or it looks to speed up the process. You already said this, but just to reiterate, how fast could we see a decision one way or the other on this?
So executive orders are dangerous, right? Because we shouldn't have the executive branch making the law. That's Congress's job. If Congress had an issue with this, you know, they are elected by their constituents. Anytime an executive order comes out, it's usually legally challenged. This went up to the emergency provisions of the United States Supreme Court. And there's no direct timeline, but everything I've read indicates probably within a couple weeks, we'll know whether they'll hear it. There won't be a decision. The decision that's going to be made is, are they going to put it on their calendar or not? And then we have to wait. Usually by June, they issue all of their decisions. So this is just a request to be on the calendar, but I think it's very pivotal. I think it's strategic, and I think it's part and parcel with the rest of the administration.
Sure, I can imagine this is something, obviously, you are watching extremely closely. Do you anticipate getting phone calls, people wondering what this means for them?
We are getting inundated with phone calls just in general about immigration. There's been so many things, the Canadian snowbirds, this issue. People don't know left, right, or center what's going on. And then we have this whole layer of social media, and that's complicating things. So people are just really confused, and we're taking the approach of educating. We do a lot of webinars. We're talking to our clients, making sure they understand how this all hangs together. Because for us, even as practitioners, it's difficult to keep up with, let alone somebody that's just like, what does this all mean? And there's just a lot of contradictions in the media as well. So it's been a crazy time, but The nerd in me is like loving reading all the details and looking at why they're doing things, and we'll see what happens.
All right, that's all the time we have tonight. Thank you so much for joining us on this, evolving topic.
For
Every
sure.
single day it goes by, something new is coming up.
My
Rosanna,
pleasure.
Thank you.